Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. Right, today, again, oh, crikey, these maps. I've been playing a bit of Ambush lately, and he's driving me slowly mad. So we decided to jump into a domination, and dominations are actually quite good at the moment. But I wanted to talk today about the whole vehicle piece. Vehicles seem to be very annoying at the moment, and let me explain why. Because the whole problem with Ambush for a long time was it just turned into tank bush. So basically, everyone just ran tanks, and why wouldn't you? Because that's actually a pretty good idea. They decided to change this by making it so you could only call in 2 vehicles a side. And that was a terrible, stupid, bad idea, because it now means that pretty much every round, 2 tankers call in their tanks on one side and the other guys call in an LAV and a dropship. Game over! I mean, that's the stupidity of this. It's kind of stupid. It should maybe sense, right, if one guy calls in a tank, the other can as well. I don't know, but just either remove them all entirely and just accept that that's it. Or maybe here's an idea for you. Make Ambush OMS. Have the ability to use vehicles, but Ambush with 50 players either side, not. So the tankers can then just say, okay, I can't use my tank in this round, I'll leave and join another one. I'm really sorry, but I just think, with all the power and the benefit you get from tanking, and let's face it, you do, there has to be some downside to it. And the downside could be, sorry bro, it takes a little bit longer for you to get into your match, because tankers are ruining Ambush for people who just want to have a really good infantry fight. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. I don't care much beyond that, because hey, lol, this game is kind of done anyway. So they're not exactly going to change this game significantly moving forward, and nor would you expect them to. Their focus entirely should be on Legion moving forward. Difficult words, I know, but it's true. I think at the moment the gaming sort of press are kind of interested in the whole Legion thing, and I think a lot of people are. It's interesting how critical some people are of Dust, even at this late hour. I mean, people are sort of saying that it was a failed game. I thought that was quite harsh. I mean, to be honest, I think this game is good. I still think there's a lot of good stuff there. The sci-fi shooters are pretty far and few between as well, and I think the whole issue of sci-fi shooters as well is that you have to enjoy sci-fi and first-person shooters to play them. Whereas Call of Duty and Battlefield 4 and all that lovely stuff, people just play anyway because there's no it's just modern world, isn't it? I think this has always been an issue, is that sci-fi first-person shooters are not actually having the biggest market share of players anyway. When you look at things like zombie shooters, my God, here's 1 million players. There you go. Off you go. And in fact, there's probably more. There's probably multiple millions of players who enjoy things like DayZ and things like that because it's zombies. And I think this is kind of driven, and again, here's getting to my video's point, is driven by the fact that not enough sci-fi films have come through to draw people into the world and the genre of sci-fi enough. I blame certain things on this, and I think Hollywood's desire to do cheap films has always been an issue. But when you look at terrible atrocities of filmmaking like Ender's Game, and don't you dare tell me it's a good film, because otherwise I will throttle you with a bungee cord, because it's terrible. And I love the sci-fi effects. I love the stuff happening, but I don't want to see an emo teen movie in sci-fi. Twilight almost killed me because I got tricked into watching it, and I watched it and I was sober as well. I mean, that's what makes it even crueler. I was sober. Anyway, so I ended up starting to watch it, and I'm like, what is it, a teen movie or something? And I was like, oh God, all right, well, I might get the opportunity of some boob later, so I'll stick with it. And what then happened was 2 hours later, I just sat with a horrible kind of grimace on my face, like I just watched somebody being beaten, an old pensioner being beaten up or something horrible like that. And my other half at the time had sort of tears in her eyes, and she was like, "It's so beautiful," and I kind of had to nod and agree because hey, boobs. And I just remember thinking, this is awful, I hate it. And that's exactly the feeling I got with Ender's Game. It's a good movie. Harrison Ford was in it, so that was good, but everything about it kind of just made me go, oh, we're just making films for 14-year-olds because they're the only people who've got money that go to the cinema anymore, because everybody else who's got money, who's older than 14-year-old, will just go and download it and watching it at home. And it just made me cry into my neckbeard a little bit, because it was just terrible. So because there's so many kind of good action movies out there and so on, people love the whole Call of Duty and Battlefield 4 piece because it's based on real world things. When it comes to sci-fi shooters, oh my god, it's a barren wasteland of not much going on, bro. And I think that was that was always my kind of issue with things like this, is people don't really get into the IP as much. Zombie games, however, I mean, again, like I say, DayZ, my god, the amount of people who play DayZ, whew, crazy. We could just get like a fifth of that group, or 5% rather of that group. Dust would just have exploded. It would have been huge. For Legion, I think there needs to be this focus on, again, who is going to play Legion? Well, it's going to be EVE players, isn't it? It's going to be people like that. And yeah, again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably a good thing, because it means that you then just have to focus the link between EVE and Legion. So, if you go and kill 50 drones, you then get a little spaceship. Whoa! And that will make just people they'll flock to Legion. That literally will happen. And, oh, you have pleased Sancha by killing and kidnapping 20 people, blah, 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 through this mission. You now get a Sancha stenciled willy warmer or something stupid. I mean, if they start to do that, which I'm sure they're going to do, that will then start to make a lot of people jump from game to game. And that's exactly what was needed. They could never convince people to play, or rather Dusties to play EVE terribly easily either. I think there's only really a handful of people I met in Dust who had never heard of EVE that then went on to play EVE, and that's a shame in a way, because I think there was probably quite a good game waiting for them, but the technology barrier of console to PC is quite a barrier. And I think also the snobbery as well. If you're a console player, why the hell would you go and play a PC game? And I do understand that. To me, I think I'm kind of happy to play anything. If I've got the technology already and I'm happy maybe buying technology, I'll play anything. I'm not loyal to one platform or another. I never have been. I'm loyal to games. So if a game's good, I'll be like, yeah, that game's good. It doesn't matter what you're playing it on. It's good. Battlefield 4 was an interesting one for me here, because Battlefield 4 was actually a good game in my mind, but I don't actually understand a lot of the furore about Battlefield 4, but I kind of liked it. But there's nothing, I mean, again, this is the thing that I think a lot of games have, and I think Legion really has to focus on this, is there is nothing wrong with Titanfall or Battlefield 4, yet I stopped playing them. So there we go. That's my thesis. That's it. That's my comment. And to be honest, that I couldn't tell you why. I loved Titanfall. Everything about it I loved. But do you know why I stopped playing it? I kind of got sick of playing it against other people, and I kind of got a bit bored that it's just literally a level formulaic shooter, which I hope actually that Legion doesn't become. There has to be sand in the sandbox. Otherwise, I won't play it longer than a couple of weeks to finish it and then done. I liked Battlefield 4. We did play it with a good group of people, and it was fun and blah, but there's just, again, nothing kept me in there. The progression of unlocks of weapons was nice, and that was good, but it wasn't enough to keep me playing it. And I think, again, no sand in the sandbox made me bored of it. This ability and this feeling of a mercenary involving yourself in the story, and you're a mercenary, and you actually send your consciousness to a clone bay on a planet, and then you wake up and wow, there you are, you're on the planet, and then you start walking around on that planet. That's what people want. And I think until they can do that, where even if there's nothing on this planet, you can still walk around the smegging thing. That is the sandbox element that people want. And until they do that, it's very difficult to see how Legion will keep players there. You'll get players playing it. Most of them will play for a bit. They'll get stomped by bet players, and they'll be like, "Man, fuck this. I'm not that invested in it. Can't be bothered." With the whole EVE experience, people kept playing it because obviously the greed element to making money was a big thing of it, but also this feeling that you could just try different things. So if you get pissed off with this, you can go and do ratting. You can go and shoot drones. If you get pissed off with that, you can go and do a mission where maybe you have to go and explore some sites, maybe hack some ancient technology in a crash ship in a desert somewhere, and then that gives you a module. You take that module, it goes into your inventory. You then have a very clear inventory system, because again, Dust doesn't have this, so I can't see all of the things that I've earned easily in this game, but having the inventory system like Eve would mean that I could see all of my officer guns. I could see all of my suits lined up in a row. That is what people want, that feeling of progression and hoarding, collecting. And I think, again, it's just completely missed in most games now. The whole inventory piece is just given that, oh, well, you've unlocked it, you can have it infinitely now. And I don't think people want that. Post in the comments, tell me what you think. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.